What if there was a better way to search in Canva? What if every time you're looking for something, you would find it, and easily with that? Well, the good news is that in this video, I'm going to show you some advanced search features so that you can always find the elements you're looking for. Let's go. What is up, everybody? Ronnie here. Welcome back to our channel. This is the right place for you to learn about Canva. If this is your first time, welcome to the channel. We have a ton of tutorials for you here to learn about Canva. Today's topic is advanced searching. How do you find the elements in the Canva library? There are hundreds of thousands, there are millions of elements in the Canva library. How do you surface the ones that you are searching for? Well, we are going to answer this. I'm going to show you some advanced search features, some tricks and hacks that I use to stay organized and always find the content I'm searching for, but also how I use some of these elements to create cool backgrounds, to add textures to some photos or elements, but also to find consistent elements that work well together. So if you are always up for finding some cool stuff in the Canva library, this video is for you. We will be using Canva Pro for this tutorial. Why? Well, the first reason is simply the amount of content that Canva Pro gives you. If we have a look here at the Canva Pro landing page, this is canva.com/pro, and we scroll down a little bit to this comparative table right here. Yeah, this right here. It's about half of the page. Canva tells you Pro has 100+ million premium stock photos, videos, audios, and graphics. This is what we are going to focus on in this video, these premium elements, the stock photos, the videos, audios, and graphics. If you're using the Canva free version, you still have a lot. You still have hundreds of thousands, but compared to hundreds of millions is like 1,000 times more than hundreds of thousands. So basically, by using Canva Pro, you have 1,000 times more choice than if you were using Canva Free. And you will see that immediately when we are searching for our elements in a second. So that's the first reason why I'm going to use Pro. And the second reason is that Canva Pro allows you to create unlimited folders, which is going to come very handy when we will be organizing the content that we find into folders and creating folders into folders. All right, so these are the two main reasons. You can still follow along with Canva Free. You won't have access to all of these premium graphics and elements, but you can still follow along. If you want to try Canva Pro, we have a 45-day free trial. This is 15 days extra than whatever you will find on Canva's website itself. They give you 30 days. We can give you 45 days because we are Canva ambassadors. So if you are interested in that, there will be a link in the description. It's an affiliate link. If you click on that and sign up for Canva, you are supporting the channel, but also you're trying Canva Pro for free. You won't be charged for 45 days. All right, that being said, that being out of the way, let's jump into Canva and let's start searching for some good elements. All right, I am here in the Canva editor. This is a presentation document, but it doesn't really matter what type of document you are going to be using. So let's first see how to work with different backgrounds. So in this tutorial, I will be covering tips and tricks for your backgrounds, mostly using images, and then I will be talking about elements that you can find. So these will be mostly graphics. But let's start with the backgrounds. First, this is the screen you want to screenshot. Okay, these are all the different keywords that I like to use in order to find interesting photos that would create interesting backgrounds for my presentations, for example. So take a screenshot of this, and we are going to go through a few of these, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But what I want to show you is how I use these photos that I find by using these keywords. So let's take the first one, for example, paper. So if I type in paper, make sure you are under your Elements tab. The first thing you will need to do is to filter your result by photos. Okay, so click on photos and find a paper texture that you actually like in this bunch of results here. So you could go for something classic, like the classic lines of a notebook, or something with a bit more texture, like this one, for example. Oh, I like this one right here. Okay, so the way to use that, the way I use these, that I want to show you, is to use this photo in a grid. Okay, so for that, I'm gonna click on the background, I'm gonna clear my search, and I'm gonna scroll down from, I am on the Elements tab, all the way to the bottom and use the first grid right here. Why do I use grid over frames? Because frames do not cover your entire page. Okay, let's delete that. Grids will cover your entire page. So basically, this first grid right here, which is the one I use all the time, is basically a big frame. So I use that, and I'm gonna drop my paper into that grid. The reason why I do this is that it's now occupying the entire canvas, the entire page, but I can still move it easily. If it was snapped as my background, I could not move it that easily. Okay, so that's the first thing. I use my photos in a grid, and then I play around with the background, the actual background. So if I want to give it my brand color, this yellow right here, position my grid on top of it, so it matches exactly. And then by adding some transparency to this, you see I can start making my brand color show through this grid, through this image. And now it's just a question of making and finding the right balance, right? You want to find the balance between your brand color and your texture. So in order to do this, you will need to click on your grid, select your grid, and then go to Edit Image. And then your best friend will be the Adjust Settings right here. Okay, so if you click on Adjust Settings, you can add some brightness, some contrast to your taste, or reduce the contrast to make the creases of the paper more obvious. You can use some of the highlight button here to add a little bit of light coming from a certain way, and also play around with the shadows, okay? And if this is not enough texture for you, you can come back to your transparency and reduce the transparency. In my case, I like to have something closer to my brand color. So I think with something like this, again, Edit Image, maybe what I could do is to reduce the brightness slightly, but add more saturation. So it comes closer to, let's say, my yellow right here. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna position this exactly where it needs to be. And there we go. Now we have a textured background, but with my branded color. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. You put your images that you find, your backgrounds that you find with your searches in a grid, and then you play around with some transparency. Let me try this again. Let's get rid of this. Let's add my grid as my base layer with another keyword from the list. Let's try holographic. Holographic. Yeah, holographic. Let's select the photo filter, and let's see what we have here. We have a bunch of funky holographic images, and I really like these ones right here that look like plastic film kind of thingies. So this is quite cool. I'm gonna drop this in my frame, and now let me move the frame here. I'm gonna use one of my photos here. Let's use this photo. And now with this photo, I'm going to use that photo, right-clicking on it, and set that image as my background. Okay, place my frame over it, and then again, use some transparency and try to find something cool like this. So we have this nice result. It looks like I am underneath this plastic wrapping, and that gives me a pretty cool effect as well. All right, so these are just some examples of what you can do with these keywords. Again, you are searching for some images. Now, let me show you a few more things you can do with these images. Let's say you have, let me duplicate this. Let me get rid of the photo, detaching from the background, get rid of it. Detach this from the frame as well. I get rid of it as well. Okay, let's say you have this, you have your original, but you don't remember which keyword you've used, and it's not here in your recently used. It's not there, like you don't know exactly where that image comes from in Canva. This will happen to you all the time. So a quick way to find it out, you click on it, then you use a little I button that says Info. So click on Info, and you should see here the title of this photo, Holographic Iridescent Surface of Wrinkled Foil. Okay, so maybe you don't remember this complicated keyword, but what you might remember is one of these keywords, okay? So for example, you can go holographic. So if you click on holographic, then this is a way to quickly find your image that you were looking for. So the info button here is your best friend. Make sure to show all the keywords, and now you can have one of these keywords will lead you back to your photo, to your original photo that you were looking for. So that's a quick way to find something that you have on screen. Maybe it's in a template, or maybe it's one of your older design that you've used and you wonder, what did I type to get this image? This might have happened to you 1,000 times in Canva. Well, this is the way. You use the info button. Let me show you one more hack that could help you find something you're looking for in Canva. Let's say you have created this paper texture right here and you have applied a duotone effect to it, okay? So now you come back to this like 2 weeks later and you click on this and you're trying to find this exact same photo of the paper and you don't remember what it is. You click on the I button and you see this, uploaded by Ronnie Hermosa, and some random name here. Why is it showing this and not the name of the original photo? Well, that's because you have applied a duotone effect to this. So Canva considers that this is a new photo that you have uploaded. So let me show you what you could do to get back to the original photo. All right, so the first thing you need to do to click on your image right here, you select your image and then you go to edit image and then you'll use this button right here, restore to original. There we go. Now we have restored to the original photo from the library. Now if I click on it one more time, click on the info button, there you go. Now I have my vintage paper, I have the name of the creator, I have all of my keywords, and I even have the ability to add to a folder. And talking about adding your photo or your elements to a folder, this is something else I highly recommend you do. For using this feature, you will need to be a Canva Pro user. I'm going to show you a trick to use the same sort of feature without being a pro subscriber. But for now, I want to show you the proper way of doing this, the proper way of saving or adding your photo or your element into a folder so you can come back to it later. So the easiest way to do so is either from something in your design area right here or something from the library. Okay, so let's say I found my paper, let's say holographic. I really like this wrapping right here. So I can click on the 3 little dot button and I can add this directly to a folder. I don't need to even use it in the editor. I can just simply straight adding it to a folder. So add to folder, I will click on your project and I will add this to my backgrounds here, move here. Okay, I'm gonna click on move here and Canva is gonna organize this photo nicely into my background folder, okay? If you want to see where it is, click on the little folder tab right here. If it's not here, click on more, you should see your folder button here, but for me it's right here. So this will show you all of your backgrounds. Again, if you are a Canva Pro user, click on backgrounds and you should see your item saved here. Okay, so it is this one right here. Let me delete it. Okay, so that is the way to add elements or to add photos to folders. And again, like because you have unlimited folders, you can create a folder for your backgrounds. And then within backgrounds, you will have your textures, you'll have your gradients, you'll have your spirals, you'll have your holographics, everything. So it is really convenient to be able to create this organization into your folder so that you can really start building this massive library of assets that you find interesting in the library. So I would recommend that you take this habit. Every time you see something cool, like for example, this little thingy here, swirly thing, I like that. I'm going to add this to a folder. Okay, my projects, add, and I'm going to add this to another folder that I have called cool shapes, shapes and line. Okay, so I'm going to add this here, shapes and line, move here, and there you go. So now every time you come across some cool graphics or some cool photos, you can directly sort them into the appropriate folder so that over time you will be building that custom library that you like. And again, to access it, super easy via your folders. Now if I come back to my shapes here, my item should be right here. You see, it's right here and I can use it in my design. So the more precise you will be with your folders and with your organization, the better designer you will become. because you know exactly where to find your assets. You don't have to spend too much time finding them in Canva. All right, so this is something I wanted to show you. Now, if you're not a Canva Pro user, you can still do something relatively similar. Okay, so this item right here, instead of adding it to a folder, okay, you can star it, because the star feature is something even free user will have. So if you star it, it will also be put in a folder. You see in your starred folder, and you can view the folder by clicking this button. Otherwise, the way to find your star folder is that you click on folders right here, and you should see your starred elements right here. If you click on star, you will find that little thing that we just saved here. Okay, so that's another way to do it. But the limitation to this is that you only have one folder. So you will end up with a massive folder full of favorite or starred elements, photos, even templates, all mixed together. And at the end of the day, it's not going to be super useful if you use the feature a lot. Maybe it's good for 1 or 2 uses, but if you are going to really create this massive library of your favorite items in Canva, it's not going to cut it. So this is where becoming a Canva Pro user could be very useful. Again, we'll have this link in the description if you want to try it for 45 days and see how cool it is. To be honest, when I come back to my Canva free account, because of features like these, the folders, the amount of content that I get with the Pro account, it's hard for me to come back. Anyways, let's move on to the second part of this tutorial. Now that we've talked about backgrounds a lot, let's talk about elements and see a couple of more advanced features in order to search better for elements in Canva. All right, just like for backgrounds, let's start with a list of keywords that I like to use recently, because literally there are millions of different keywords you could search for. But these are a list of my favorite ones recently that I like to use for searching for some cool elements in Canva. All right, so let's just grab one from this list. Let's go for, let's say, the paint daubs. I'm gonna copy this and paste that right here. Paint daubs. Make sure that you filter this time by graphics, okay? And these are a bunch of paint strokes, like brush strokes like this one. And you will see 2 types of results from here. You will see animated ones, like this one right here, this one right here, or you will see some static ones like this one right here. And for this one, you can change the color, so I can easily apply my brand color, which is pretty cool. Also, Canva will show you a section right here that says Magic Recommendation. So you can click on that and you will see a bunch of similar looking elements right here. So this will help you maintain consistency in your design if you use the Magic Recommendation, okay? A similar way to achieve this, let me import another one right here. Let's use this animated one, okay? If you want to see more of the same of this type of graphic, just go to the object panel right here, click on the 3 little dots and click on See More like this, okay? And now Canva will show you more of these animated kind of paint splashes, paint brushes, paint strokes. So that is the See More like this. This works with everything. For example, if I use this one, See More like this, I see all of this, very similar to the Magic Recommendation. And this works with everything. It doesn't need to be paint up. Let me try to use another keyword here. For example, let's go with the halftone keyword. This is a pretty cool keyword. You'll find some pretty cool graphics like this one, for example. And this could really be used in a bunch of different ways that I can think of directly. Really like this effect. Also, like, pay attention to the number of Pro elements in here. Like, the great majority of them will be Pro elements. So this really comes back and loops back to what we were saying at the beginning of the tutorial. You get 1,000 times more choice as a Pro user. That really explains why when I come back to my free account, I feel really disoriented because the choice is really less. Indeed, this is where you will feel it when you search for specific elements, specific keywords like these. All right, so I've showed you the See More like this. I've showed you the Magic Recommendation. I have one last advanced search feature I would like to discuss in this tutorial, and this is the collections, okay? So collections are something relatively new that Canva is trying to implement to its element library, is to create a collection of similar looking elements, okay, or graphics. So let me show you by using the keyword kawaii. Kawaii. So kawaii is a Japanese style of drawing that usually use animals or objects and draw little mouth and little eyes that they're very cute in my opinion. So for example, let's say I like this cat right here and I want to see more of this. So I click here, I'm heading for the see more button, but hey, I see another button, another item in this menu that says view collection. So this is exactly what I wanted to show you. Let's click on that collection and now you see an entire collection of this. It's called the set. You see here on the code that Canva gives you, set, and then you have the set kind of ID number in Canva. So if you type this in, you'll find this exact same set. But the good news is that Canva is organizing the elements by sets or by collections, they call them. So this is pretty cool. And usually also, if you find a creator that is using a collection, like in this case, the creator is Sparkle Stroke. So if you go to Sparkle Stroke by clicking on its creator name, like I just did, you'll find the brand, which is Sparkle Stroke, and then you'll find pretty much the brand identity. But from here, you can find some other stuff, like you can find some other elements that might be in a collection as well. For example, this blob, see more like this shape, maybe some of these will be in a collection as well, because people who create one collection are usually keen to creating more collection. In this case, I couldn't find more of these, but maybe if I type kawaii again here, maybe I find another collection of kawaii. Or maybe I see some similar looking, you see here, for example, I have some kind of Halloween themed elements. So I can see 4 or 5 of them here. So maybe if I click here, these are part of a collection. Yes, they are part of a collection. So if I click on collection, now I can see the entire Halloween collection from this specific creator. So that is another thing you can search for, these collections, because they will help you remain consistent. That's all I wanted to show you from within the editor. The last thing I want to do is to come back to my homepage here and show you where all of these saved items that we have been adding to folders, where you can find them. So usually you will find these under your projects right here. So if you click here and you go to your second tab, your folders, you will see all of your folders here. So these are all of my folders. If you remember, I added a bunch of them into the backgrounds, and I have some previous ones as well, like these gradients. So what I can do from here is actually to create more folders. So let's create another folder. Name of my folder will be gradients, gradient backgrounds, let's call them, gradient backgrounds. Okay, so create that folder. Okay, it's right here. Now what I can do is to select all my gradient backgrounds, like so. Let's see if I can select this quite quickly. Yep, and I can move them. You see, move to folder. I will need to find my folder, so it's under background, gradient backgrounds. Okay, I am in the right folder. I can move all of these here. That's how you organize your folder with subfolders. You have unlimited folders with Canva Pro, so why not use them, right? Similarly, I could create another folder with some spiral backgrounds, okay? Create that folder, and also you can share these backgrounds. You can share any folder basically with your team members if you are working with a team. So that's another cool feature of folders. Okay, so I have my spiral background. So now similarly, just select all my spiral backgrounds and I will move them with the same button, move to folder. Again, I will find the right folder under my background, spiral background, move here. Canva is going to move them. And this is how you neatly organize everything. Oh, I forgot this one. So let's just move this one to the same folder here as well, like spiral background. Move here, and there you go. So now you can either come back to your folders, like I'm doing right now, afterwards, and organize them, or from the object panel right here, you could click on the 3 little dots, add to folder, and find your relevant folder that you've created It's none of these three, but you could add it directly from here. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. These were a bunch of new ways, new advanced ways to search with Canva. If you like this tutorial, make sure to drop us a like, leave a comment if you want. I go through the comments every day and answer every single one of them. Subscribe to the channel. This is the best way to support us, and I will see you in the next video.